I think one of the main key parts to trading the foreign exchange market is knowing how to think. So, my hours of operation, the times in which I execute are from 5 to 7 a.m. and from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right. So when I woke up at 5, nothing really too um nothing that really stood out for me besides the point of when I did wake up at 5, I knew that there were a lot of COTs here and there were a lot of COTs. Obviously the previous daily low here. There was a previous H4 low here. Right. So my main thing was here was I wanted to see what maintained and what got liquidated. So price rolls over and sweeps some sell side liquidity. We swept the previous daily low, previous H2 low. This is how I was thinking come New York, right? So now I am there is a next 4 hour cycle that I'm looking to partake in, right? Now there were two scenarios I had in mind, right? So per my rules, I can't buy or sell the most recent CLT that just swept major buy or sell side liquidity. So in this case, the most recent CLT would be this previous H1H. Um, would be this previous H1H here that swept uh the most recent buy or sell side liquidity, which was this previous H4 low, right? So per my rules, I can't sell anything below this point, right? Now, so that was just first thing in mind. Now considering that the last 4 hours had 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 just traded bearish the entire 4 hours. Typically, what happens come New York is you can either get two scenarios, right? You can either get you can get three scenarios, right? The the one of the most obvious scenarios would be a continuation, right? The next 4 hours would just completely continue bearish. Or you can get another scenario where you have an inside bar candle where the next 4 hours doesn't necessarily close bearish, it closes bullish inside of this 4 hour range. So say if the market was to trade back up here, maybe sweep this liquidity, kind of just range here for a second, and then we sell off, or kind of just range here until the last 4 hours of the trading day, which starts at 1 p.m. So therefore, you would have just had a bullish inside candle, right, where price just kind of retraced, spent some time here on the x-axis, and then 1 p.m. would have been the sell-off to essentially close the day, right? That was his case. Or or the last scenario, which one that I was favoring more so towards, which I'll elaborate more on, was a complete reverse, right? Now, there are a few things that actually alluded to a reverse. One is that one thing I can see is that as price actually came down here and swept all of this sell side liquidity here, there were no major sweeps of buy side liquidity here. There was just stacking, just intention building here from the previous daily high, the current daily high, the previous H4 high, nothing but just all liquidity sitting here, just stacking over top of each other, building. So that's giving great insight for something for price to go liquidate. Now, from a time perspective, I love that New York was starting here, right? For one, because what I'm thinking is that if the H4 candle is starting here, right, and price does which I was pretty confident in, price coming back up here first, trading here first to sweep these lows, is that and when price was coming back down here to retrace, I was thinking from a perspective of what the current H4 candle would look like. Now, if you know anything about an H4 candle or daily candle, price tends to follow the wick. So, for example, if I were to actually draw this candle per se, is that if price were to trade up and then retrace back down, it would actually leave a candle that will look something similar to this here. I know this drawing is extremely horrible, right? But just follow me. I could let's actually make this a little bit better. Um, so this is what I want to do. Just say price that traded up here. Price that traded up here to sweep this. We opened. Just say we came back down in anywhere in this range, not knowing where price would go at first. This would be the open here, right? So this right here, just say, price did sweep back up here. Obviously, with me having a complete reversal, um, if price shows optimism to go higher, I want to catch the correction, right? So, but in my mind, I'm thinking that the correction would create a H4 candle profile that would look like this, right? Therefore, if price tends to follow the wick, this here would be great indication of price going higher, right? Now, another thing I'm also thinking, right, is a daily perspective, from a daily perspective and from a weekly perspective. And so if I zoom out to the 15-minute chart, right, and I add the weekly profile on here, right, this right here was your current weekly profile, right? Now, one thing I was noticing about this weekly profile is that, with this being Thursday, once price retraced back up here, um, the body of this candle, right, would be somewhere up here, leaving a wick all the way down here. Right now, harmony from weekly to daily, to hourly, whatever. Harmony for me in this case was that the weekly candle profile would essentially be creating the same exact fractal play as this daily profile, right? The weekly profile, how price significantly traded down and we trace back above the week, is now creating the same exact fractal play as this daily profile. How price trades all the way down from Asia, right? And then we have a complete reversal of price trading back up. So for me, that was more confluence of price going higher, just seeing the harmony. Okay, so here the 4 hour candle opens up, does as anticipated, and we go here and we liquidate both of these COTs, the previous H2H and the previous H1H here, right? So now I'm full force. I'm ready to buy. Well, obviously not yet, right? So the market continues. The market comes down here. We create a catalyst. Now at this point, I'm just looking for an excuse to buy, right? The markets retrace back. It could price come all the way down here, sure, right? I don't know. At this point, I didn't really anticipate it to, but I knew that once price retrace, and now we got some optimism here to essentially go higher. Now, one thing about here that I loved about my point of interest, which essentially became this 3-minute demand zone here, I love how it overlapped with this previous daily low. So that was it for me. I set trade here, and my target for this trade was I only wanted for price to come back up here and right here to the daily open. Now why? Now why not target um and here I actually hard TP'd. I did anticipate price to come and run all the rest of this. But I didn't hold it. If you wanted to, I didn't. I hard TP'd there. Primarily because of this daily range. I just wouldn't expect price. For me, I felt like all of this liquidity up here would intentionally be the intention to close the week, like something for Friday to do. Um, so if we just continue this, price came back down, tapped into there, and we were off to the races. right? And that was it. Once we liquidated that, that was it. And that was pretty straightforward trade. Nothing too complex.